Today, we're going to talk about the nervous system and how it powerfully impacts your ability to create more wealth and abundance. So, let's break it down. Your nervous system essentially evolved so that you could run away from a lion. You were basically, out there on the savannah, and you needed to be able to spring into action, run away from the lion before you even thought about it. Because if you were to sit there and go, there's a lion, I better start to run in the other direction, you're going to be dead, right? So the nervous system essentially was there to kick you into this sense of fight or flight response so that you could run away or fight off the lion and you could survive another day to breed and make more babies and perpetuate the species and continue on your, continue your family line, your ancestral line. The problem is, in our society, there are no more lions. And so our nervous system responds with a fight or flight response to almost any stressor that we're experiencing. And that fight or flight response that we step into, that we end up getting into, that was incredibly adaptive back in the day when we were running away from lions, no longer serves us and actually keeps us stuck. So here's the reason why. What happens when you step into this fight or flight response is that basically all of the blood rushes out of your brain and goes into your arms and legs because it is trying to power you to run away from that lion. It is trying to allow you to survive. And it is going to take all of your energy, all of your resources in your physical body and channel them into survival and away from everything else. That includes creativity, that includes intuition, that includes problem solving, that includes strategy, that also includes things like immune response, that includes things like digestion, that includes things like sexuality. All of those things go kaput when we're in that fight or flight response, when our nervous system is activated. This is incredibly adaptive, as I said, when there's a lion chasing us. But in our society, there's no more lions. The stressors we experience actually tend to be chronic. For example, we get an unexpected bill in the mail and we feel stress around money. Well, let's be honest. There's always going to be another bill. There's always going to be more stress around money. No matter what income level you're at, there is going to be stress around money. New level, new devil, as I like to say to my clients. At first we might be concerned with how to make more money. Eventually it's how to hold on to our money. And then it's how to grow money. And then it's how to pay our team and make sure that the money keeps coming in and make sure the money is consistent and make sure that our business is growing. And there's always something that may stress us out around money, around building more wealth and abundance. So when we have this stressor around money, what happens is usually our fight or flight response kicks in, right? Particularly if our nervous system is dysregulated. It's normal for us to feel an experience in our body, in our physical being that says, oh, this is something that I might need to attend to. Like I said, the problem is these stressors are usually chronic in our society. So what happens is we don't get through it in 5 or 10 minutes, like being chased by a lion, and then we settle down, we shake off the stress, we're able to return to our baseline, and our nervous system stays regulated because we're able to have a flexible nervous system that goes into responsiveness to the stressor and then comes back down again. No, what happens is we experience these chronic stressors and our nervous system stays activated. And we stay in that stressed out place perpetually, which means we perpetually lose access to our creativity, our intuition, our connection with other people, our ability to rest and digest, all of the things, all of the resources that we need in order to create more wealth and abundance, in order to have a business that's successful, in order to have a freaking life that's successful, in order to have great relationships. all of the things that we desire in our lives require us to have a flexible nervous system that's able to bounce back from stress and return to a feeling of relaxation, ease, flow, pleasure, delight, all of the juicy, wonderful things that we want in life, right? But when we have these chronic stressors and we're not taught how to modulate our nervous system, how to regulate our nervous system, what happens is we get stuck. We get stuck in these patterns related to fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. We fight. We try to become hyper independent. We think we can go it alone. We think that we have to I'm gonna charge through. I'm just gotta get more discipline. I've just gotta do more stuff. I've just gotta do more things, right? Or we have the flight response. We avoid the things that are stressing us out. We procrastinate. We drag our heels. We convince ourselves we have to wait for clarity. We maybe get into a Netflix binge, or we scroll on social media, or we go into freeze, where we just feel numbed out, maybe burnt out, overwhelmed, and we feel as though we can't do anything, that we can't even approach our business. We can't even look at our bills, and we get really, really avoidant, and we get really, really disassociated with the things that we need to engage in order to create a difference. This is when we have no idea what to do next. We feel epic confusion, and we feel really shut down. We feel no connection with our creativity, with the soul of our business. And then there's the fawn response. And this is when we get really, really overly focused on what other people think about us, on getting the approval of other people, on making sure that everybody likes us, because it feels like such a threat if they don't. So when we slip into one of these four responses in terms of money, in terms of wealth and abundance, in terms of the success of our business, in terms of marketing, in terms of all of these things, what happens is we are losing access to the most important resource we have, which is your innate genius, which is your intuition, which is your strategic thinking, which is your ability to see opportunities, which is your ability to believe and have self-trust, which is your ability to be creative. All of those things go away when we're in this fight or flight response, when our nervous system is dysregulated and we're chronically stuck in this sense that there's a threat pounding at our door. It may be weird to think of money as a threat, but when it is a stressor, our nervous system kicks into that fight or flight response, our subconscious mind will hold us back from approaching it, from doing anything that will actually benefit us in terms of generating more wealth and abundance, because it thinks that that thing is threatening. It thinks that that thing is dangerous. So it wants to protect you any way it can. And a lot of times this looks like throwing on the handbrake in your business, feeling stuck and not knowing why, feeling like you constantly hit your head against like a glass ceiling, against a set point, a money set point that you don't know why it's there. Why can't I break beyond this income level? Why can't I achieve the next income level? The other way it shows up that I see frequently with my clients is their money ends up leaving as soon as they make it. Unexpected bills come up, or they end up spending it in ways that they're not proud of, or that, that they didn't expect to spend it on. Money just runs away. And so they never feel like they have a strong financial foundation that they can depend on. So the point being is when we have these chronic stressors and we haven't worked on being able to regulate our nervous system, what happens is that we no longer have connection to our capacity to create more wealth and abundance and to see opportunities for new ways to create wealth and abundance because our internal resources have gone towards protecting us and helping us survive, and our subconscious mind has said this is a threat and will do whatever it can to protect us, including keeping us away from the thing that we think we want most: more wealth, abundance, success, our business to work like a dream and to feel easy, flowing, amazing. But here's the cool thing. Now that you know this, you can do what you need to do in order to regulate your nervous system, in order to feel more at ease, even when shit hits the fan when it comes to money, even when you experience a disappointing launch, even when you have an inconsistent income month where you're making $2,000 one month and 20 grand the next, even when you're not sure how to generate more money. If you know how to manage your internal resources so that you're not stuck in this chronic sense of stress and reactivity from this fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response, and you're able to, like I said, regulate your nervous system, come back to baseline, come back to this place of relaxation, then suddenly what happens is the opposite of what we're talking about. This is what I like to call the ease cycle. It's when we slip into creativity, when we have more connection to our intuition, when we feel more connected to other people, when we feel really inspired and juiced up by our business, by new ideas for how to generate more wealth and abundance, for a new passive income product that we're going to create, whatever it might be. The ideas pop in your field, into your brain, like beautiful little sparks of light, because now the stress is no longer acting like this big wet blanket over all of the potentiality that you have inside of you at all times. Now, I just want to kind of summarize what we've talked about. So essentially, stress causes your nervous system to go into like, like super like stressed out, spazzy mode where it is like not listening. It's going la, 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 and it's not trying to create the things you want to create. And as long as you're in that stressed out place, and our society gives us this chronic stress, and we haven't been taught how to deal with it very well. Let's be honest, they should teach it in schools, I wish, but they don't. We get into that stressed out place, our nervous system stays there, it stays in that fight or flight response. We lose access to our internal resources, which are exactly what we need in order to create more wealth and abundance. And then we wonder what's wrong with ourselves. We start to take on the identity that maybe it just doesn't work for me, instead of realizing, gosh, if I just learn to deal with the context I'm in, if I learn to have a resilient and responsive nervous system that doesn't get stuck in the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn mode, then I will return and be able to have access to all of these delicious resources inside of me that will show me my alignment and the path that's right for me, that will create wealth, abundance, joy, freedom, fulfillment easily. And this, my friends, is why your nervous system has a powerful impact on your capacity to generate wealth, abundance, more income, break through your income ceiling, all of those things. So, your task, should you choose to accept it, is to learn to manage that chronic stress, to learn the impacts of those chronic stressors, and to understand that, yet our nervous system is there to respond to that stress. It's not as though we never want to be able to have that feeling when something happens. It's that we want to have a responsive, we want to have, like a rubbery, that's a weird way to put it, but nervous system that's able to bounce back when it experiences these stressors. And that is when we have the ultimate freedom to create whatever it is we want to. And that is when our success is inevitable.